Now let's start with the hardware. Now this is a robot hand, a particular type of hand. It's a lot like our hand, and it has a lot of motors, a lot of tendons and cables, as you can see. So it's unfortunately not very reliable. So this has just 2 fingers. So it's very simple, it's lightweight and reliable, and it's very inexpensive. And if you're doubting that simple hands can be effective, look at this video where you can see that 2 very simple grippers. These are being operated, by the way, by humans who are controlling the grippers like a puppet. But very simple grippers are capable of doing very complex things. Now, actually in industry, there's even a simpler robot gripper, and that's the suction cup. And that only makes a single point of contact. Now, let's talk about the software. And this is where it gets really, really difficult because of a fundamental issue, which is uncertainty. There's uncertainty in the control, there's uncertainty in the perception, and there's uncertainty in the physics. Well, if you look at a robot's gripper trying to do something, there's a lot of uncertainty in the cables and the mechanisms that cause very small errors, and these can accumulate and make it very difficult to manipulate things. So recently, there was a new development called LiDAR. And this is a new class of cameras that use light beams to build up a 3-dimensional model of the environment. And these are fairly effective. They really were a breakthrough in our field, but they're not perfect. So if the objects have anything that's shiny or transparent, well, then the light acts in unpredictable ways and ends up with noise and holes in the images. So these aren't really the silver bullet. Now, the last issue is the physics. And let me illustrate for you by showing you, we take a bottle on a table and we just push it, and the robot's pushing it in exactly the same way each time. But you can see that the bottle ends up in a very different place each time. It turns out that we can predict the motion of an asteroid 1,000,000 miles away far better than we can predict the motion of an object as it's being grasped by a robot. Put yourself here into the position of being a robot. We have to be able to get all these packages delivered in a timely manner. And the challenge is that every package is different. There's a huge amount of turnover, so it's a challenge. And people have tried to put robots into warehouses to do this work. Hasn't turned out all that well. But my students and I, about 5 years ago, we came up with a method using advances in AI and deep learning to have a robot essentially train itself to be able to grasp objects. And the idea was that the robot would do this in simulation. This is a system called DexNet that is able to reliably pick up objects that we put into these bins in front of the robot. These are objects it's never been trained on. And it's able to pick these objects up and reliably clear these bins over and over again. So we were very excited about this result, and the students and I went out to form a company. And we now have a company called Ambirobotics. And what we do is make machines that use the algorithms, the software we developed at Berkeley, to pick up packages. And this is for e-commerce. We now have 80 of these machines operating across the United States, sorting over 1 million packages a week. And one particular challenge is being able to manipulate deformable objects, like strings in 1 dimension, 2-dimensional sheets, and 3 dimensions like fruits and vegetables. So we've been working on a project to untangle knots. And what we do is we take a cable, and we put that in front of the robot. It has to use a camera to look down, analyze the cable, figure out where to grasp it and how to pull it apart to be able to untangle it. The other one is something I think we also all are waiting for, robot to fold the laundry. Now, roboticists have actually been looking at this for a long time, and there was some research that has been done on this, but the problem is that it's very, very slow. So this was about 3 to 6 folds per hour. Okay. So one of the things we did was try to think about a two-armed robot that could fling the fabric the way we do when we're folding. And then we also used friction, in this case, to drag the fabric to smooth out some wrinkles. And then we borrowed a trick which is known as the 2-second fold. And the last example is bagging. So you all encounter this all the time. You go to a corner store and you have to put something in a bag. Now, it's easy, again, for humans, but it's actually very, very tricky for robots. Because for humans, you know how to take the bag and how to manipulate it. But robots, the bag can arrive in many different configurations. It's very hard to tell what's going on and for the robot to figure out how to open up that bag. So what we did was we had the robot train itself we painted one of these bags with fluorescent paint, and we had fluorescent lights that would turn on and off, and the robot would essentially teach itself how to manipulate these bags. So I want to come back to Moravec's paradox. What's easy for robots is hard for humans, and what's easy for us is still hard for robots. We have incredible capabilities. We're very good at manipulation. But robots still are not. It's been 60 years, and we're still waiting for the robots that the Jetsons had. We need robots because we want them to be able to do tasks that we can't do or we don't really want to do. But I want you to keep in mind that these robots, they're coming. Just be patient, because we want the robots, but robots also need us to do the many things that robots still can't do. It's very hard to tell what's going on and for the robot to figure out how to open up that bag. So what we did was we had the robot train itself we painted one of these bags with fluorescent paint, and we had fluorescent lights that would turn on and off, and the robot would essentially teach itself how to manipulate these bags. So I want to come back to Moravec's paradox. What's easy for robots is hard for humans, and what's easy for us is still hard for robots. We have incredible capabilities. We're very good at manipulation. But robots still are not. It's been 60 years, and we're still waiting for the robots that the Jetsons had. We need robots because we want them to be able to do tasks that we can't do or we don't really want to do. But I want you to keep in mind that these robots, they're coming. Just be patient, because we want the robots, but robots also need us to do the many things that robots still can't do.